Hi friends, it's Mari from Mari Her Eye Archives, and today we're going to be talking about notebooks. Notebooks and journals, more specifically my notebook hoard that I found ways that I can actually start using it, and maybe some of these ideas can help you if you are someone like me who have a notebook hoard. Now, I'm going to defend my notebook hoard because I feel like this notebook hoard, and when I say notebook hoard, let me kind of give you a visual. I mean, it's probably not as much as some people, but to me, this is a lot. I feel like this is a lifetime worth of notebooks. Um, I feel like this is my little store that I've created for myself. Um, and I would like to say that I am just preparing for my future self. That is why I have all these different kinds of notebooks. And also, I feel like sometimes I have to rescue some of these notebooks because they're sitting in the store, nobody wanted them, and they're like $5. And sometimes you just have to buy the notebook. And so it makes it into my little notebook shop that I have for myself. Now, if you're like me, and when I say this is to prepare for my future self, that's because, let's see, how can I put this in a way? Let's just say because I have many tabs open. That's just how my brain works. And I'm an Aries, and I tend to like different things, and I tend to start a lot of different projects. And sometimes it's just there, idling, waiting for me to tackle it. And I'm not going to lie, like, I'm the type that if I'm interested in something, I will buy everything that I need for that specific project. And then sometimes by the time everything comes in, I'm already onto another project, which is a project that I actually thought of doing maybe like a couple years ago. And then it kind of comes full circle because I know who I am and I know how I am, that when I do these things, when I buy things for, like when I go all out, it's actually for my future self, because I'm the type that once I'm like ready to start a project, I want to make sure that I already have everything and I don't want to wait for anything in the mail. So it it there's a system in place. And so that goes into the topic today about the notebooks that I've decided to use. And most of these notebooks I've actually purchased maybe years ago, maybe even like last year, because I was like, I know I'm going to need this. I'm going to use it. I just don't know which project, but it's going to come in handy. So we're going to talk about that. And maybe out of all the craziness, you'll find an idea, and maybe it'll help you start using your hoard, because I'm quite proud of myself that I'm actually using the notebooks out of that basket. Now, should I have shown you the different notebooks I have? Oh, you know what? Let's give you guys ooh, a sample of what I have in here. Now, if you're new to my channel, I love mini tiny notebooks, and so I do have an assortment for myself to choose from when a project strikes. I think this is my latest. These three right here are the latest additions to my notebook hoard. I thought it was super cute. So let's start off with this one. This is the Ishoni. But what I loved about this, oh, here it is. It is a pocket notebook made in Japan. And what I loved about this is the fact that it already has like a built-in pencil inside, which, bonus, I think that is very, very useful and helpful. And then the paper, look how beautiful this paper is. I love paper, and so I will just buy notebooks because of how the paper works or how it looks. And this is like on cream paper. I don't know what kind of paper this is, but here is the information. I believe I got this from Yoseka, and there's different colors. I got the black one, but yeah, look how beautiful this paper is. So I got that, and then these little keychain notebooks. Like, how could I not? Now, I didn't have any idea what I was going to use it for, but like all my other stuff, its time will come eventually. And it has this beautiful paper, and I feel like this would be a great book for swatches. Like, I have a travel swatch book, ink swatch book that I made myself using a cut up traveler's notebook, and you guys probably seen this in my previous video. But if anyone is looking for a really cute way to carry your ink swatches, I think this would be a great way. The paper seems okay. I didn't test this out on fountain pen, and actually let's test this out now, since we have this out, so we can, let's see, what is my most, I think this is in a medium. This, by the way, is my most used fountain pens. I have really been enjoying my fountain pen journey, and it has been so much fun. So this is a Pilot Vanishing Point in a medium nib. Let's see how this works. And if this works, then this would be an amazing swatch book. And then you can just clip it on your bag. All right, moment of truth. It's a winner, guys. It's perfect. So there you go. One idea that you can use this for is an ink swatch book. They have many colors. I just have these colors, but they have other colors too. And it has like a little keychain. You just like hang it on your bag or hang it on your, I have a, which is one thing that I'm going to talk about, my pen and ink journal. You can just like hang it on your notebook right here if you want. It'll look, like that. It'll look super cute. Or if you have a pocket like I do, you just put it in there like so. But very, very handy. Okay, what else do I have in here? I have these notebooks, which have really pretty paper in it. Here's one that is opened already. Look at that paper. It's so pretty. What else do I have in here? I have like a couple of these. This is from, what is this called? Denick. I loved their little, I actually have yet to use these notebooks, but eventually there'll be a time and place, but I loved the designs on it. Kind of reminds me of Field Notes, but I love the designs that they had. There's another one, but I gave it to my son. He uses it for his passwords because he constantly changes it. And then I have, of course, my hoard would not be complete without Traveler's Company notebooks. I have a Commonplace notebook, which I actually might use this for something. There's another project that I have in mind. Of course, I have like MD notebooks. What else do I have here? I have some R Studio. This is a research notebook. And this is, what is this? The Brick Notes notebook. These are pretty cool. What else do I got? Some more grid paper. It's one of my favorites is grid paper. I have this, which is a supply stock book for like those sticker transfers I have yet to use because I actually use a different way to store those. I have a watercolor And then I also have this one because I am a very big fan of the MD cotton notebooks, and this, at that point in time, I've actually had this for since like 2018. But during that time, the cotton notebooks, I can only find it in this large A4 size, and so I have yet to use it, but I love their cotton notebooks, so that's in there. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I do have like some notebooks that I found on Amazon that I used to use for my to-do list. That will continue to do it if I need it, but I think at one point I did use it for a tea journal, and it probably still, I'll use it again for that. It's just I like so many things. I have so many tabs open, but it's there. So yeah, that's my little notebook hoard. That doesn't include like the hard back notebooks. Like, I'll pull out some. I don't want to show you my my bookshelf because it's a lot. But I do also have like hard notebooks that I tend to, when I'm perusing the internet and it catches my eye, I'll buy it. This is from Rifle Paper Co. They make the most beautiful journals. This has like embroidery, and I am a sucker for embroidery, and it's plain pages, so I can use it for maybe junk journaling or maybe drawing, sketching. I don't know, but I know it's beautiful, and I grabbed it. Here's another. This is actually from Archer and Olive. This was a set, and I love these notebooks. These are the extra large pockets that it's like a special edition. It's not something that they usually carry, but it's usually like during like maybe Valentine's or like the holidays. Here's a book journal. This is my second book journal. I have yet to use the first one, but I couldn't pass up because eventually I'm going to start reading my books, and I just want to make sure I'm prepared and that you know, I have my supplies. At least that's how my brain works. So yeah, I think I've proven enough that I like to hoard notebooks. And one more item that I would love to share is this sketchbook from Rifle Paper and Co. Look how beautiful this is. It is embroidered. They have another one. It's a black one with floral. I might pick that one up because it's so pretty. But it has sketchbook paper. You could watercolor in it, draw in it. Yeah, so this is just part of my sketchbook series. But there's a black one that I absolutely love that I saw last week. Just been kind of thinking about it. It's been in the background. Oh no, I gotta put this back. So, but yeah. Okay, so besides my little show and tell, my mini show and tell, let me show you the ways that I've actually been using it. And I'm actually surprised myself, but it has been so much fun. Okay, first off, okay, let's go with the obvious is my pen and ink journal. Now, this is the most that I've actually used the traveler's notebook in a long time for what it is made for as a traveler's notebook, because usually I'm hacking it, or usually I'm cutting it down, or usually I'm adding rings to it. But this is, I think the reason why is because I could never find something that warranted the traveler's notebook system in my case. I know a lot of people use a traveler's notebook and it works for them, but I just couldn't find a setup for me that works for me until now. And this traveler's notebook actually makes a perfect pen and ink journal. And let me show you why. And if you haven't seen my video, I have a whole video dedicated to my pen and ink journal when I first started. Since then, I've made a lot of entries, and I'll go over it with you guys. But the reason why I love using a this notebook for a pen and ink journal is the fact that I can create sections for the different types of paper that I want to test out my inks and pens on. And mostly it's MD paper and Tomoe River paper, because those are the most paper that I use in my everyday. And so the Traveler's Notebook allows me to add both inserts in here and keep it together versus having one notebook for, you know, like two different, like two big bulky notebooks. This allows me to have these inserts in here. And so like for this right here is the MD insert, and it has this beautiful MD paper. So I like to test out my inks and my pens on the MD paper. But I also have this grid TRP paper, the Tomoe River paper from Baumkuchen. And so this allows me to actually also test my inks on Tomoe River paper. And it has been, it has really worked out for me as far as a pen and ink journal using a traveler's notebook. It doesn't have to be this specific. If you have a traveler's notebook from a different brand or you made one yourself, it still would work. I just like the fact that I can carry two different inserts with two different papers, and it's thin enough where it's not too crazy, and it can fill up pretty quickly, and that's okay because I have a lot of inserts that I need to start using. And I think that's the reason why I'm excited about this, was because now I have a purpose for a lot of my inserts. And then not only that, recently, because I'm actually going to my very first like craft fair stationery fest in Chicago, and I wanted to have an insert where I can use specifically for those times if I ever go to like a pen show, if I ever visit a stationery shop, and you know, sometimes they have stamps that you could use. I wanted like one specific insert that I can use and bring with me to those places, so it's not like everywhere. Like I don't have to worry about bringing my personal journal. And so I added this little insert, and I love this insert because it says have fun and be inspired, and I feel like that is very fitting for what I'm going to be using this insert for. So basically, you know, when I go to like the craft store or a stationery shop, if I want to test out pens, I could do it here. If they have their own stamps, I could do it here. I can also log in. If I do end up purchasing stuff from there, I could junk journal the items that I purchased from there. So I love having it in this pen and ink journal because most likely if I do go out somewhere, I could be bringing this, or maybe I'll have these two with me. This is my pen profile book. This has all my pens listed that I own, all my fountain pens. So I think that having everything in this traveler's notebook it's like the sweet spot for me, and it makes me so excited that I have something like this. I've never had this for myself, and you know, as this fills out, I could swap out the inserts and I'm good to go. So I am loving this. So this is a great idea if you are looking to start a pen and ink journal, and the space is good enough for you. I highly recommend checking out the Traveler's Notebook system, whichever one you choose. Absolutely love it. If you hear some noise in the background, we are in a complete whiteout. Snow everywhere, snow up to your knees. It is cold outside. So yeah. Okay, since I have this out, this is another idea for you to start using, like your notebooks or maybe some planners or ring planners that you have, is to start a fountain. If you are into fountain pens, or maybe just your gel inks and you want to learn more about your pens, I feel like having in my case, this is a fountain pen profile book. This was my attempt to kind of learn and understand the different characteristics of my fountain pens. And because it was so much, I needed a book to be able to put everything in, all that information in, and kind of brain dump it and not have to rely on my memory, especially if I'm like out and about and I'm trying to buy a fountain pen, or even if I'm online and I'm like, ooh, I really like that pen. It's a Kaweco, but I wonder, or I'm trying to figure out like which pens I have in what different size nibs. You know, I don't want to buy another fine one if I already have a fine nib pen. And so this is super, super useful for me. So you can, now I chose a specific, I chose a ring planner versus say like a notebook or even a traveler's notebook. I like the fact that it's in a ring because of the fact that you could move the pages around, and it's not permanent. And like say for example, because there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to fountain pens, like you might return something, you might sell something, you might bring something new in, and so this allows you that flexibility. And so I love using a ring planner for this. You don't need this size. I just love this size. This is a narrow Me Plus Slim Pad. You can use any size that you're comfortable with, but I love having this notebook, this profile book, in this rings planner because of the convenience of being able to take out and um, put in paper when you need to. It's a very flexible system. And so, and I think that's the reason why I hoard so much stuff, because in my head, I have different ideas of what I want to do, but then sometimes it doesn't work out. Like a specific project doesn't really work in a notebook and it needs a specific system. And I don't know at the time. It has to, it comes to me eventually, just like how my traveler's notebook. And so, again, this is one of those aha moments that worked out for me. And I think it was trial and error through my journaling stationery journey. Now, I mean, I've been into stationery since I was a little girl, but I've kept diaries and all that stuff when I was younger. But it wasn't until maybe like 10 years ago when I had more space and more time to dedicate and understanding like the process. I feel like for me, journaling and stationery is not just materials. I mean, it can be if that's how you treat it, but for me, it's more of tools for me to create, which is very important to me, to be creative, to organize my life. So it's a big deal to me, and so I treat my stationery as like pieces of art sometimes, and you know, they're useful tools. They're not just pens. They're not just paper. Anyways, so so I'm just really excited that this year I've been able to find purposes for the notebooks and planners and stuff that I have. So, and it's working in a way that makes sense. So this is a great idea if you want to find something that'll help you organize your pens, is create a pen profile book. Okay, sorry about that. I got a call on my phone and it just stopped the recording. But like I was saying, if you are into doing something like this, I highly recommend looking into a ring system. I think it's the best way. So this is a great way to use a ring planner, making a pen profile book for yourself. Next up is something that was I actually did a little video about it, but I started, now I have a little notebook that I started. I've talked about this, and this is another great way for you to use up a notebook. And this is my tried recipe book, because one of my goals was to try out different recipes, and this is my way of documenting that. Now, it might be a little extra to some, but I think it's more important to me is the process of trying a new recipe and then putting pen to paper, it's just the process that I enjoy, not necessarily having a notebook for it, if that makes sense. And that's just me, but if you're looking to have a notebook. Now, I should have mentioned this before. Now, you don't have to do any of these things because a lot of these projects are just there when I'm ready to use it. It's not like something that I have to get into every single day. So it's not overwhelming for me. It's just I have labeled a specific notebook for a specific project, and if I am trying a recipe, I have a spot for it to go to, if that makes sense. I mentioned that, like, my brain kind of works in tabs. And so I have a lot of a lot of tabs that are open, which is I have a lot of notebooks that are on my shelf and are just waiting there until I go to that tab. And so it might seem overwhelming, but I don't think it is. Well, not for my brain. So if you have a brain like mine, this might be actually pretty soothing for you and makes a lot more sense. But another way for me to use up my notebook is this tried recipe notebook. And so whenever I do try a recipe, I like to kind of log it in. And I actually reused an old planner that I didn't use during that year. And that's one thing about me is, like, I do like to buy new notebooks, but I also like to reuse my notebooks. So uh, like, for example, my monthly planners, I don't want it to go to waste, so I'll use it as junk journals if I did use it as a planner. But there's some that are from like 2022, 2023, and I never used it. And so I just redate or even erase the dates and just use the blocks for certain things. And in this case, I think this is a 2023 uh, MDB6 planner. It has a monthly, and then it just has these line pages in the back. And then what I just use this for is for any time I do try a new recipe, I kind of categorize it in the monthly sections, and then I put the page where the recipe is, and then I'll just write the recipe. Will I go in and look for a recipe here? Probably not, because a lot of my recipes live on my phone. But for me, this is just me enjoying the process and just grounding myself and taking like something slow and just enjoying it. And so this is what it is, because I'm also someone who's realistic, and I do like the convenience of some of my modern technologies. And so would I take this to the kitchen to look up a recipe? No. I have everything on my phone. But will I be in my studio sometimes and look at this? Yes, because it's for me. So this is another idea that you can do, um, if you're looking to maybe reuse a notebook, or if you want to use up an old planner. This is a great way to do that. And sometimes it doesn't have to be like some profound thing. It could just be for the purpose of just being. And so this is another idea or thing that I use for my notebooks. Since we're on the food subject, this was a recent one, and I am so excited about this. Now, I love photography, especially photographing like food. It's always been um, an interest of mine. I actually went to university for photography for a little bit, and since then I haven't really. I only dabbled in it, and the only extent that I do have with photography is obviously the photos I take for my family and my food. And for the longest, on my personal IG account, I would post it because I love adding photos and adding music to it. And it's such a vibe for me. And so recently, I actually deleted everybody off my personal IG because I just feel like when I post something and people are there, it's performative, if that makes sense. If I posted like an outfit of the day photo, it's really for me because I want to take that photo and I want to add music to that photo. And I didn't like having an audience. And so I deleted everybody. And so now I post freely on my personal IG account at my outfits of the day, the food I ate, the things that I baked, and add the music because it brings me joy and it's for me. And so recently I was like, you know what? I really would love to have these photos that I took of my food. And I think I want to do it with my outfits of the day as well. But right now I'm focusing on this. And I wanted to put it in a notebook. And so enter this notebook. Now I purchased this last year, I believe either at Joann's or Michael's. It was like $5. But what I really loved about this notebook is that it had black paper. And it was thick enough to draw on, to junk journal. And it was only $5. And I felt like it was my responsibility to save that notebook and bring it home. And so I did, and I didn't have a purpose for it. I just knew eventually I would use it. And it became my little food journal. So now I have a place to actually print out my photos. And if you've seen my reel or short, I was printing out all of the photos that I had in my phone that I could see. And I put this in Procreate so I could put it all in one. Was it Procreate or Canva? One of those. That way I could fill up a whole page and print it out. And this brings me so much joy to actually have. And I printed it on sticker paper. And I printed it all out. And my plan was to log it into this notebook. And so I started. So this project for me, it's not something that I have to do daily. It's whenever I have time and whenever I feel the urge to do this. And so I don't want to put a lot of pressure on myself to have to get this done. It's there in the background waiting for me. And as I take photos, I'll take the photo, I'll post it on my Instagram. And then when I have probably like a page full, and then I'm going to print those stickers out. But I have plenty right now to focus on before I print out a new page. But this is what I did. And I chose this because I love the fact that it's black and the photos will pop. And here I will show you what I've done so far. Now, I use my typewriter because I love using a typewriter. I remember when I was a little girl, that's what we used was typewriters. And so I was thrifting one day and this was sitting at the thrift store and I could not pass it up. And so I got myself a typewriter, and I could show you guys. I mean, it's small enough. It sits right on my desk here on the side, as you can see. But it is the Olympia SM3. Ooh, can you see it? It is a beautiful typewriter, and I lucked out because this was in excellent condition. I didn't have to do anything with it other than like clean it up a little bit, but it's in excellent condition. I just had to change out the ribbon, and I have been enjoying this. And sometimes I'll have paper load up and I'll just tap the keys and I don't even know what I'm typing, but just the action is satisfying to me. And my kids also come down here because they think it's like the coolest thing. They're like, oh, a typewriter. And so they come in here and they'll type, especially my youngest, and they'll type something in there. But anyways, so with that tool, I also decided to use it to create little labels for my photos. And at first I was thinking of doing it like a museum style where it has like the little caption, like when it happened, the title, you know, just to be funny. But since then I've kind of changed it. And so I kind of made it into more of like a journaling style. And so here we go. Here's a couple of pages. Like there are some photos that I do want to kind of elaborate on. Like this is the first time that I made baklava, because baklava is like one of my favorite desserts. and it's hard to find unless it's during the holidays. I do see it at Costco. They actually had it like 2 years in a row, which I was so excited. But this was back in 2022. We were living in Utah at the time, and I was craving baklava. And so finally I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make it myself. And here I am. Here we go. Isn't it beautiful? It was so good. And I was so proud of myself. And then these are just like meals that I've made or me and my husband made. And I just take a photo of it. And it's just showing our everyday meals that we eat. I mean, I document it in my journal, but it's just words, right? There's no pictures. And so this is the reason why I wanted to do it. And so this is a great way to use a notebook, you know, something that you're passionate about or that's something that brings you joy. Print it out, put it on a notebook. And here's some other items. I absolutely love using the acrylic pens that I have because of how bold the colors are. And this is the one from, I got it off of Amazon. I think it's called Just Art. But I love using these acrylic pens. So this is one way that I use to use up my notebooks. And like I had mentioned, it's a notebook that is just there, no pressure, and it's just another way to expand my creativity. And it makes me so happy to see all the photos that I've taken of my food that I made, and I'll be able to see it. I don't have to go on Instagram to see it. Now if I do, it's there. But I don't know, something about having this in a book. Yeah, and this right here is dedicated to all the different Filipino desserts that I've made over the years. Recently, I made pandesal and Spanish bread, which Spanish bread is like my most favorite dessert. I've made it a few times to try to perfect it. But I'm still in my journey. Turon is a fried banana dessert, which is all-time favorite. I mean, I've made that for years. My kids love it. Okay, Filipino here, okay? We have a dessert that's called puto. Okay, I know it means something else in a different language, but in my language, it's this white, soft bread. It's so good. But anyways, but yeah, and so I have yet to finish or continue. I will. I have plenty of pictures to do that, and so I am just excited I found a home or a purpose for this specific notebook, and it just sits on my table right behind me, just waiting for me when I'm ready to use it again. So again, a great way to use up that notebook. Find something that you are passionate about that brings you joy and put it in notebook form. So next up, I feel like I'll talk about this in a little bit, but just kind of a little bit more, that is usually obvious that everybody does, is like a multimedia journal. Now I'm using my traveler's notebook passport size. This one I'm using it as a media journal for my TV shows and movies that we watched. This was all of 2025. Actually, this is 2025 as well. So as you can see, I have a lot of entries that I have to, annotate. But this was all of 2025. Well, actually, half of 2025. And then that's when I realized I don't think I could keep up with doing a whole year because we watched so much. And so for this project, I'm going to finish it out. And it's happening slowly, but it's okay. And from now on, what I'm doing for my media journal is, if there's a specific movie that really stood out that I want to talk about, that is what I'll input. I won't input every single show and notebook. I already do that for in my actual daily journal. I just write it out what we watched. But for certain movies that I feel like I need to talk about it, I'll put it in here. So that is how I'm doing it from this point forward. But this is a great way to use up those inserts because I have a lot, and so yeah, this is one way. And I just love this little thing because it all matches. Okay. And then another one, which I think I will be starting again or starting soon because, and a lot of these projects happen because the things that are happening in my life. Now, I'm a huge tea drinker, and I used to love like refreshers, but from Starbucks. Um, but for some reason, my body reacts to it really differently now. I think it's the sugar, and it really crashes me out, and I don't like how I feel. And so I've decided to make my own like refresher slash lemonade using my tea. I have some syrups, some like organic syrups that I have purchased for lemonade. And so I want to start that journey for myself, because this was actually going to be a tea journal. But the thing is that I use a lot of loose leaf tea, and it's a lot of the same loose leaf teas. So it doesn't warrant like a whole notebook, if that makes sense, because I drink the same things and I'm not discovering new ones. I think eventually I will, but that's not where I'm at on my tea journey. Um, I just want to get through the loose leaf tea that I currently own, and I have a lot. And so what I decided to do with this one is it's going to be my tea journal, but it's also going to be like my lemonade, my drink journal. And eventually I'm going to start that soon. Just don't know when. Um, haven't been in the mood to be making lemonade, but when I do decide to make it, this is here. And I just have an insert from the Traveler or from the Starbucks Reserve. And a lot of it obviously is coffee themed. And so um, I have this, it has like these pockets in there, which would be great for if I do end up using a tea that's in a sachet or tea bag. I can put the paper, um, the wrapping in here. So this would be great. And then I could use this to kind of document the different lemonades that I make, the different teas that I make. So this will be what it is that tea and drink journal. And it's so fitting that I have this. So I'm super grateful that I actually have this in my collection. So this is another great way to use up your traveler's notebooks. To have like specific things for certain things, I know could be a lot for some, but for me, for someone who owns a lot of notebooks, it's perfect. And then also, I am also starting again, many tabs in my brain. I have a lot of different subscriptions that we get for our household, like toilet paper, household supplies, eggs, just different things that I want one specific notebook to house that information. Um, I think I've chosen maybe this little Mo term. I think it's an A9. I haven't figured it out specifically, but it's in the back of my mind that I want to do something like that. And so that is another way that you can use up a planner or a notebook is to deal with your household subscriptions. I do have a reference planner that has everything, but that's what it is. It's just a reference planner. It's not something that I go into every day. um, and sometimes that's what I do, is that I like to take something from my reference planner and then have its own little notebook for that specific information. Just like my reference planner has finance stuff, but I also have a finance little notebook that's more concentrated on finance and it has more detail. This is like the same idea. So this is one that is also I have a tab open right now for this, so that is in the background. Now this one is my latest discovery, and I was so excited because it all happened when me and my husband was having a conversation, and he loves like fish, seafood. I love seafood, but we were just talking on the subject about like sardines, and that he misses eating that because that's what he ate a lot growing up in the Philippines. And sometimes it's not accessible, the ones that he's looking for. You have to go to an Asian store, and we have one here, but sometimes it's not like the greatest. And so, especially like Filipino ones. And so I told him, I was like, I could probably find good sardines for you. There's some really gourmet ones, because all he knows is like the tuna ones, like the bland ones, right? And so I said, no, there's something that we can try. And so this kind of snowballed into this sardine tin can journey. And it's been so fun. I've been finding different tin can sardines and salmon, and we've been trying it out, and we've been having like a tin can fish about 3 times a week. And I mean, it has great health benefits, but I think more so it's just something that me and my husband can bond over again. And so that prompted me. And at first, this was born after the fact, not before. And so it just dawned on me after we had our first tin can, and I obviously wanted to save the artwork because tin can fish have like beautiful artwork. And I was like, I'm putting it in my junk journal. And I was like, you know what? I think I want a specific notebook for it, just for our tin can fish journey. And so in comes this little notebook. And so I went into my little basket of notebooks, and I said, what notebook can I use? And I think this is where the fact that I hoard so much, that I was able to shop my hoard, and it was so satisfying to like pull out like 5 different options and be like, I wonder if this works. And I landed on this one. This is my MD A7 notebook. I love, if you've been on my channel, you know that I have an infinite love for this notebook. It is the A7 MD notebook. It is so tiny, but it's like the perfect size for specific items. I have one for my grocery list and to-do list that stays in my bag. I have one for sketching and drawing. Now I have this one. Now this is what I call my tin can diaries, and this is where I just log our journey, put all the artwork for the from the tin cans that we get. And so I wish I filmed this process, but a lot of the times when I am in project mode, I don't think about anything else until like midway through, and I'm like, oh, this would have been good if I filmed it. But I didn't. So you guys get to see the finished product. So sorry that I couldn't film the process, but I'll go over it. So what I ended up doing was I just took a cute washi tape, which is actually this, that is housed in this cassette tape cutter, because I love anything analog related. I found this on JetPens for like $10. I think they are sold out, but hopefully they'll restock. But I love this little, I think it's the cutest way to store your washi tape. Now I do have to say, I don't like, because sometimes the washi tape comes off and it doesn't stay. And sometimes this comes out like this, and this gets kind of dry. So with that said, maybe if they had like a cover over this, would have been a lot better to keep the washi tape, but for $10, I think it's a great way to store. But if you are going to store all your washi tape in these, I don't recommend that. I think just having 1 or 2, I actually have 2. I have the gray one and the white one, and it currently holds my 4 favorite used washi tapes that I'm using right now. But yeah, so basically I just took this washi tape and then put it on here on the back as well. And then so funny that this right here, I have letters, but it was just too big, and so I thought, you know what, maybe if I can just write out what I wanted, the Tin Can Diaries, on sticker paper, and then just cut it out. And that's exactly what I did, and it produced this little, I like the fact that it looks like it's a sticker. Well, it is a sticker, but it's in my handwriting, in my lettering. And then I have these Tin Can stickers right here, which I'm trying to find a whole roll of this because I bought it as loops. and I want the whole roll, and I can't find the whole roll, and I don't want to buy like 10 loops of this. I want the whole roll. So if anybody has an idea where I can purchase the whole roll for this artist, this is actually, I bought it from the Sorry Stationery, and she only sells loops of washi, but I want the whole roll. Okay, anyways, I just found one little can, and because it's washi and it's kind of transparent, I actually put the washi sticker on a white sticker paper so you could see the design, and then put it on here so it stands out. So that's what I did. And then this is the fun thing. I went on Canva and I picked out all my favorite like fish related, sardine related stickers. And maybe I'll do a tutorial about how to make your own stickers one day. But I just gathered all the my favorite stickers that I could find. I even like went on the internet because these are the like hot sauces that I use when we eat the fish, and I wanted to document that, and so I just kind of put it on there and then made it into a sticker like so. I still have more to print out, but I printed out a few, and I made myself a little envelope. Well, this was an envelope. I just cut it way short with some scallop sticker or scallop scissors. So now I have all my stickers related for this project in here. I don't have to search for it. It's already contained. And then I just have it here in the back. And I put a little washi tape here so it looks like when I put this on in, it looks like it's being held up by washi, but it's not. It is just something that I thought was really cute. And then I printed out stickers and I kind of put it on here. And what I did was I found this this art online, and I thought it was beautiful because it says, "Remember when I used to eat sardines for dinner?" This is a lyric from one of my #1 favorite rap songs on earth. I know every single word. If you know where this is from, let me know in the comments, because if you know, you know. But I feel like in my past life, I was a rapper because I love rap songs. Anyways, I feel like I'm a closeted rapper. But anyways, this, when I first saw it, I immediately knew where it was from. And I screenshot it and I printed it out on sticker paper. And so now every time I open this notebook, it's there, and it just brings me so much joy. And then this is how it looks. I put a little about me, like how we started this journey, about me and my husband talking about, you know, and this is how I've been kind of journaling or documenting the different kind of tin fish that we've tried. And so this little notebook brings me so much joy because I could play with stickers. I can keep the artwork from the different tin fish that we have, and it's just, I don't know, it's so much fun. And so here's like a little, and then midway I was like, oh, I should probably put an index of what these stamps mean. And as you can see, like on here, because my husband loves tomatoes, and this wasn't tomato sauce. I'm not a big fan, but I'll eat it. So I have a little stamp dedicated that represents him, and then my stamp for me. And so this one has a little dog that says good. And then for me, I put so. I'm okay with it. The next one, this one right here, we both thought it was good, and so I put good. I feel like all the tin cans, he's gonna be like, it's good. Me, I'm the picky eater. I'm very picky. And so midway, I was like, you know what? Let me add an index. And so that's what I did. I did a little rating here, and then just shops that I've purchased our items from. That way I have kind of a reference where I buy the tin fish. And then I wanted to dedicate a page to like the specific brands that we get. And so there's only 2 brands that we tried, was the the Fish Wife, and then this brand, Marta, or maybe that's the, it's from Jose Gourmet. It's from Spain, from Portugal. And so I have to do a page for them. But that's as far as I got. But man, this little notebook brings me so much joy. And then all I did was I have this traveler's notebook, elastic, and these brass fish that we actually carry in our Etsy shops. So we just recently restocked these because we've sold out twice. And so we just recently restocked it. So if you are looking for a cute, dainty brass charm, I highly recommend these. These are my favorite, obviously, because I only stock my favorites. But yeah, so this is what I use to kind of close this off, and it just kind of hangs out like that. And it's so cute. I poked a hole here because at first I had these fishes on there, but sometimes it gets annoying to have like dangling stuff. But this was another option. This again, this is also, wait, I think we're sold out on these. We don't have any more. I only made a few because I only had a few of these little fishies. But of course I kept the blue one because blue is my color. But yeah, so that is an option. But again, another way that I used my notebooks, and this is the most I've actually used for my notebooks, and it's the year of using my notebooks and my fountain pens and my traveler's notebooks. I'm just so excited. And I thought maybe, hey, maybe you guys are looking for ways to use up your notebooks, and hopefully this gives you some ideas and brings you joy. Like these have been bringing me joy. It's just been, I mean, we're only, what, 26, 27 days in, and I have been loving this creative journey I've been on. I thought 2025 was awesome. 2026 is proving that it's been awesome. So I am actually going to work on this as well as my pen and ink journal. I have a couple new entries because we got a couple new fountain pens that I feel like we'll need a new video of my updated fountain pen collection. I am just waiting on a few more fountain pens, and then we could get into talking about the new fountain pens. But for now, I'm going to play with my journals because it's cold outside and there's really nothing else to do. And that's what I want to do. So that is what we're going to do. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And, you know, if you made it this far, thank you for hanging out with me and listen to me ramble about my notebooks and journals and all these little side projects that I have. And hopefully you've got some ideas that you might be able to implement in your journaling journey or in your stationery, or to use some of your notebook cords like I'm doing. So thanks for hanging out, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.